It's time for the 49ers Rush Podcast. Here's your host, John Chapman.
All right, baby, here we go. We are back. Sorry about that. Welcome to another episode of the 49ers Rush Podcast. We are live. We had some technical difficulties to get started off the bat, but hey, that's what happens when you go live. Thank you for joining us. I love seeing the Countdown crew and everybody with us. That is incredible. And here's the deal. We've got a long episode for you today. We are getting into it, baby, because here's the deal. We're going over the Jets, offense, defense, everything about them. We're going to go over tendencies, scheme, again, both offense, defense, players that are out for them, players that are out for us, history of the Jets, game predictions, keys to the game, and, of course, we have our bets of the week. So we've got a lot of stuff to get to, and, man, just so glad you guys are with us. Look at the Countdown crew showing up strong on a Friday. Hopefully everybody is off of work. You're already got a Corona open, and you're ready to sit back and enjoy a football weekend. Week one definitely didn't go the way we wanted it. Let's just be really, really honest. There's no doubt about that. However, best thing about week one, you got week two right after it. And the 49ers have a crazy opponent that is perhaps even more injury, attacked than the 49ers. They've got a lot of people out. And so let's start off talking just with some injury updates for us and them. And as we get through this, man, it's bad for both teams and really all across the NFL. It's almost impossible to find a team without a wide receiver injury to a starter. They're just missing everybody. Now, obviously, the 49ers have some major ones, and if you haven't heard already today, I just want to say I love you, and I want to say I'm sorry for the news that you're about to hear. But George Kittle, unfortunately, we were hoping he was going to be able to play. He's not going to make it to week two. So here is the head coach himself, Kyle Shanahan, talking about Kittle.
No, I think it was just the normal person. We probably would have ruled him out earlier in the week, but we never do that really with George because of what he's shown us here over these 3 years with him. And we would have held out 2 more days to wait and see if it was a home game. But with us having to decide to travel today, whether it was worth it to bring him. I mean, if he's not going to play, it's much better for him to leave him here for a couple days and let him get his rehab and everything. And so we had to make that decision a little bit earlier today. And that'll help him and benefit him. And he'll meet us in West Virginia. And hopefully these 2 days staying here will help him. And hopefully he'll be ready to go next week.
Yeah, not great, Bob. You always want Kittle. I mean, he's the number 7 player in the entire league, voted on by his peers. The guy's amazing. It sucks that he's not going to be there. It sucks he's not going to be there on the sidelines. But the whole goal is to get him back. Now, yes, Kittle's out. But guess what? Kittle missed 2.5 games last year, and the 49ers made it to the Super Bowl. So, thankfully, the depth of this team should be able to overcome, and tight end this year, much better off than we were last year. There's no doubt about that. Jordan Reed, obviously, is going to play a much bigger role. Kyle Shanahan talked about that as well, but you could definitely see him getting some more snaps. He only got 10 snaps in week one, Jordan Reed did. But I do see Ross Dwelley being the Kittle replacement. That's why Ross Dwelley's on this roster, is if you lose a fullback, Juice, a tight end, Kittle, he fills in for him. He's the duct tape of the 49ers. He's awesome. And so do prominently see Ross Dwelley getting almost all those snaps, starter quality snaps, and then you're going to filter in, Jordan Reed, 10 snaps week one. He's probably going to get 20 to 25 week two. I don't think that you're going to put him in because he's just such a liability in the run game. So you put him in some place, and that's going to happen. But outside of that, you're going to be okay. Now, other injuries, every single corner that the 49ers have is injured, except for Emmanuel Mosley. All right, so we got 4-1. He's out there. And, man, he's going from guarding DeAndre Hopkins every single play to guarding who knows who they're going to put out there at running back? It's probably going to be Chris Hogan and Brashad Breeland. So you've got, I'm sorry, Perriman. I apologize. I just mixed up my Brashads. But the idea is this. He went through fire in week 1 with Hopkins. Now he gets to kind of move back down to really JV. The Jets have the absolute worst wide receivers in the NFL, even if Denzel Mims is healthy, even if Jamison Crowder's healthy, but they're not. So they're bad. They're really, really bad. So all of our corners are injured. Ahkello Witherspoon was put in concussion protocol after playing 4 plays in the game, but I'm not making light of that. It's fascinating how fast it happened. Concussions are a big deal. I shouldn't have said that, so I apologize. But Ahkello is cleared concussion protocol. He has a full practice today. Now, there was some mixed reports out there whether he fully cleared or if he was cleared or whatever. He's playing. A full practice today. Was not wearing the blue contact jersey today. Ahkello's starting. So your starting corners are going to be Mosley and Ahkello, and that's fine. It's not ideal with Richard Sherman out, obviously, but this is where we're at. Now, if Ahkello can't go, that's whenever it gets in trouble. And that's why I say it's fine to have Ahkello in there, because you don't, number 2-7, that's next up. He's our number 3 corner. So if one of our outside guys misses plays, you're getting Dante Johnson in there. And I don't think anybody wants that. Thankfully, we've seen teams pick on these guys before in the past. I mean, Emmanuel Mosley got picked on week 1. Ahkello Witherspoon's been picked on anytime he's ever been in, and so has Dante Johnson. So the good news is you're playing against wide receivers that perhaps a little bit lower quality NFL players. So that's good. Now, so Ahkello's back. That's great. I think Ahkello's going to have a good game. I really, really do, just because this is the perfect situation to step in. Perfect situation to step in. Because you're going against a subpar quarterback. I think Darnold can be good, but with this offensive line, Darnold has not been successful, and the worst wide receivers out there. So the makings are there. This is a great game for Ahkello. Obviously, you want Sherman, but you don't have Sherman. He ain't coming through the door. And then also D Ford, who he looked like he was hurt last week. In the third quarter, I've gone through and did the film breakdowns for Patreon, and we're going to talk about that. I see some of the comments already. D Ford looked great in the first quarter. Like, he looked like D Ford of old. Now, he didn't get any sacks, but he did get a pressure, and he was making plays. He was impactful. He was great. The problem is, second quarter, he didn't look like that. Third quarter, he looked like he should never play football again. So there's some injuries going on in the lower body, but they listed it as a neck. So here's Kyle Shanahan talking about D Ford, who's out, who missed practice. And he'll fill us in.
It was just neck spasms and stuff, so we rested him. I know today he came in with some, so I know he's meeting with guys and trying to make sure it's safe and everything. So that's why it's questionable. Don't have much more than that, but it's Friday, so we're just trying to play it slow here and see how it goes here the next 2 days.
Yeah, neck muscle spasms, that's okay. You get into the neck, that's scary stuff, but you don't want anybody getting hurt, so be smart with it. I think that he will be able to go, which, trust me, if you're a defensive end, this is the week you want to play, because this is where you're going to get your shots on the quarterback. It's going to happen. Now, good news, Brandon Ayuk and Ben Garland both practice fully all week. So we're getting back a starting center, and we're getting back a starting wide receiver. So 2 starters up, 1 starter down. You miss Kittle, but you get your center, which is going to help in the run game, and then you get a wide receiver, which is going to help everything, including the run game, because you're going to see some end arounds. You're going to see some, screen plays, all that kind of stuff to Ayuk. And I think Ayuk's going to have a game, just because who else you got to throw it to? Kittle's out, your primary target. Debo's out, your second primary target. So you got to spread the ball around. And I think Ayuk, even though this is his first NFL game ever, I think he's going to be playing a prominent role. I could definitely see him getting about 75% of the snaps. Now, hopefully he can handle it. The good news is, as I said, he practiced fully all week. So he's been getting all those reps and going through the game plan and all that stuff. So I think it's going to be good news there. Now, for them, the Jets, it's pretty bad for them. They're missing Le'Veon Bell, their starting running back, Denzel Mims, their second-round wide receiver that they picked this year, Jamison Crowder, who had 13 targets in week 1. He's out as well. So they're hurting just as bad, if not worse, than the 49ers. Now, none of those players match up to Kittle, so I don't know about that, but they had a bad roster to begin with. And as we go through, the scouting report and some of the stats and all those different things, I think it's going to help us understand just how bad this team is. You lose week 1, the 49ers do, and it was bad. The fan reaction, I tweeted this out today. Hell hath no fury like a fan base whose team lost week 1. And again, I got Eagles fans. They were unbearable. I had Cowboys fans, which I know I probably shouldn't. They were struggling too. And so it doesn't matter. Everybody thinks the sky is falling. The sky is falling. But you've got to realize it's a 16-game season. It's a marathon, not a sprint. Chill out. The Jets are everything that the 49ers needed for week 2. So let's talk a little bit now about the Jets because, they lost as well week 1. They lost to the Bills 27-17. They gave up over 400 yards to the Bills offense. They did force 2 turnovers, though, but that's just Josh Allen being Josh Allen. Josh Allen will turn the ball over 2 times in his sleep. That's just who he is. History of the matchup. These teams haven't played that many times, just 13 times. But the 49ers are up 10-3. So, they've kind of gotten them pretty good, to say the least. Now, I do want to say also, we are approaching episode number 300. Dude, what is up, faithful? You guys have listened to me talk a lot, and I just want to say thank you. And the way in which we're saying thank you, again, my Twitter followers already know this, and if you're not following me on Twitter, come on, guys, at JL_Chapman. We're giving away an autographed official Nike 49ers jersey, the black and red, autographed of Joe freaking Montana. I'm so excited about this. And I want to say thank you to Game Day Sports and Memorabilia. All your memorabilia needs, they have such an awesome Niners collection. Okay, so head over to Game Day Sports Memorabilia. They're awesome, very fun to work with. Just great group of guys over there. We're giving it away for free. So on the 300th episode, which will be next week, all you have to do is head to my Twitter. It's my pinned tweet to my profile page, and just retweet that with a gift. That's it. That's all you got to do. You're already following me. You're already subscribed on YouTube, and you get entered in to win this jersey. I'll cover shipping. I'll get it sent out to you. That's a $400 gift, by the way. So it's nice. It's the black and red, hand signed by Joe Montana. So excited about that. That's going to be given away on episode 300. That's a little bit of a milestone there. What's up, man? Just 300. Now, here we go. Let's jump in to the defense for the Jets. Okay, we're going to go over strengths, weaknesses, scheme, tendencies, players to watch out for, players to exploit, and the matchup that you have to watch. Okay, that's kind of what has already changed because I had Kittle versus Marcus May, and now that has gone bye-bye. So anyway, that's okay. So here we go. They don't really have a lot of strengths on the Jets defense, but what they are good at is stopping the run. Literally the second fewest rush yards in the NFL last year that they allowed. They're very good against stopping the run. Now, that even panned out against the Bills last week. The Bills didn't rush for that many yards against them. They had 400 total yards, but most of them were through the air. So second fewest rush yards allowed, only 3.3 yards per carry. That's incredible. 7th in total yards allowed. This is a Greg Williams defense. And so they're usually very, very aggressive. We'll get into a little bit more of that. But they don't give up a lot of first downs. They don't give up a lot of yards. And they're the second best in the NFL against the fourth down. Last year, they only allowed 3 successful fourth down conversions out of 12. So that's a lot to look at there. Now, weaknesses, they're pretty much average at everything. Here's the crazy thing as I was diving into all their statistics and stuff that they did last year, and I know it's a different team, but you can't base it off of just week 1. Most of the personnel on the defensive side is similar. So here's the thing. They did not rank in the bottom 10 of any statistical category on defense. That's what this team is. So the whole idea, even though they have an offensive head coach, you wouldn't guess that by looking at their team roster or stats, but he's the worst head coach in the NFL, Adam Gase. There's no doubt about that. The crazy thing about Adam Gase, though, is he finds a way to win 1 or 2 games each year that he shouldn't win against playoff teams. Beat the Bills in week 17 whenever a lot was on the line for their playoff implications. Beat Pittsburgh whenever they still had playoff hopes. Like, they just kind of surprise teams. And you go back to his days in Miami whenever he would beat the Patriots, even though their team was trash. But whatever, I digress. Even though they do all those things, they don't have Jamal Adams anymore. And it doesn't seem like they really missed a beat last week. But Jamal Adams, obviously, is with Seattle now, so we're going to get to see him twice this year instead of once. But we're very thankful that he's not there this week. I could say that. Now, their scheme, they run a multiple front, which means they'll alternate back and forth between 4-3 and a 3-4, so it's a hybrid defense. And they're very, very aggressive. They're always attacking. They love to blitz the safeties. They love to confuse you. That's the idea. So their defense doesn't look the same on back-to-back plays really ever. They'll have 5 men in the front. They'll do a 3-4 hybrid, and I mean, they're just all over the place. Now, their base coverage is a cover 2, but they want to disguise the look always. So they'll bring a safety into the box, then drop them. They'll have both safeties back, blitz 1, drop a corner, nickel over. It's a very complex system, but they do it relatively well. It doesn't seem like they have a lot of missed assignments on the back end. 49ers had one last week, but they do a pretty good job of all this and just moving everything around. Now, players that we got to watch out for. There's really just 2 guys on their defense that are kind of Pro Bowl, all-pro level type players. Marcus May, the other safety, he's great. He had 2 sacks last week as a safety and 4 solo run stops. So, back-to-back weeks, we get great safety play. Budda Baker, week 1, Marcus May, week 2. And then Quentin Williams, who, Kyle Shanahan talked today about how, man, if Bosa went 1 last year, he was taking Quentin Williams, number 2. Thankfully, that didn't happen. Quentin Williams is good, but he's nowhere near as good as Nick Bosa. And I would even argue, I don't even think he's as good as Javon Kinlaw. Now, we only have 1 game to look at for Javon Kinlaw, but just to put this into perspective, Quentin Williams last week, he had a 54 Pro Football Focus grade, which is like Solomon Thomas level. He had 1 pressure, 1 tackle on 50 snaps. He was a non-factor. Now, the Bills' offensive line is really, really good, and it seems like Quentin Williams, like most defenders, struggle with mobile quarterbacks. But he does have that type of dominance where if he does take over a game, you kind of got to watch out. So those are the 2 players to watch out for. Players that the 49ers can exploit. Pierre De Sair. Cornerback, he's long, 6'3". He fits the mold of a press man corner. The problem is he's really bad when the ball gets in the air. He was targeted 4 times. This is just week 1, and this is with Josh Allen throwing the ball, mind you. Targeted 4 times in week 1. He gave up 2 touchdowns and 2 penalties. So he's a guy that you could definitely take advantage of, and even whenever your wide receivers are covered, you can still attack him. He is very, very handsy, which, anyway, I almost made a joke there. Glad I did it. But he's a guy that you can get first downs on through penalties, even without catching the ball. So I think they're going to target him, Pierre De Sair. You'll see him out there. Now, the best matchups on this side of the ball was going to be George Kittle versus Marcus May. Well, Kittle's out. So what do you look at there? Well, here's what I want to see. I want to see our starting center, who just returned, Marcus May, versus Quentin Williams. That's going to be key. Quentin Williams he's all over the place. He plays 1-3, 4-5 techniques. So you'll see him all over. I want to see right in the middle, on top of the center, what can happen there. Because with Grossu last week, who filled in admirably well, Grossu might be a better pass protector than Ben Garland, but Grossu gets no movement in the run game. That's just not who he is. So it's going to help the run game big time, which we need against this Jets defense, whose sole purpose is stop the run and confuse the quarterback. So if we can establish a run game, there's no way the Jets will be able to keep pace because their offense is just subpar to be nice. That's just me being nice. And again, keep in mind, this is with an offensive-minded head coach who, whatever. All right, so let's talk about the offense. It gets pretty bad pretty quick. So strengths. There is only one, and this is out of 15 different statistical categories, that they rank in the 15th. That's their best offensive rank from 2019. Just one. And that's in fumbles lost. They only lost 9 fumbles, and that's the only category that's not in the bottom half of the league. There's 32 teams, and their best one is 15th. So here we go. Weaknesses, it's everything. It's bad, man. They are a running faucet with no floor. They can't catch crap. So here we go. I'm just going to run through these quick because I don't want it to get too redundant. 32nd, dead last, right? 32nd in total yards allowed. 32nd in yards per carry on offense. They only average 3.3 yards per carry. 31st, they're better than one team on third down conversions, 30%. 31st total points, 31st first downs, 31st rushing yards, 31st rushing touchdowns. They can't run the ball. They can't do any stuff. Well, can they pass it? They're 29th in passing yards. So you can't run it, but you can't pass it either. So it's kind of damned if you do, damned if you don't. And a lot of that starts with up front, their offensive line. They've completely remodeled their offensive line. They have 4 new starters from 2020 this year, but they didn't get good starters. They didn't get good starters. Fant, that's probably the best thing that I could put out there. You look at George Fant, who was an offensive tackle and tight end and guard for Seattle, but he wasn't a starter for the Seattle offensive line. If you can't start on Seattle's offensive line, that's not a big signing. They paid him a lot of money to come in and play right tackle. He's not any good. So they did get new players, but they're not good players. So let's talk about their scheme and kind of what he does. A lot of 21 and 11 personnel. Okay, he wants a tight end, and probably their best player on offense is a tight end. We'll talk about him, Chris Herndon, in a little bit, even though he's only played in like 4 games as a pro. But the personnel grouping is very similar to the 49ers. They do use a fullback. They will do offset eye. They will motion back and forth, not near as much as Kyle Shanahan. Nobody motions as much as him. But that's there as well. Passing routes, they are not a quick passing team. So if you look at the Cardinals, probably the quickest passing tree in the NFL. They just get the ball out super quick. It's almost just like screens everywhere, all that stuff. The Rams do that as well a lot of times. This team, absolutely not. It is set in the dark ages whenever you're looking at route trees. And man, as I was watching them against the Bills, who have a great defense, I'm just thinking the whole time, like, your guys, they're not even looking at the quarterback for the first 3 seconds on almost all these routes. It's a very complex scheme, route tree that they run, and I just don't understand. I don't think anybody wants to understand Adam Gase. I don't think that's healthy. So I guess it's a good thing. I'll take it as a compliment to myself. Now, a lot of deep drops, 5 and 7 step drops, play action. They'll turn their back to the defensive line and sit there. And then they'll try to do some of the shotgun quick stuff, but they run out of that very fast. It's very, very clear. They want to methodically, slowly drive down the field. One of the tendencies of an Adam Gase offense is he wants fewer plays. He's one of the only people that does this. On offense, I'm talking. He wants fewer plays. And so he's going to slow it down. He's going to use all of the play clock. So the defense getting exhausted and the defense like subbing in and out like crazy, you're not going to see a lot of that because they will allow the defense to get fresh. It's really archaic, everything that guy does. It just doesn't really make sense. Now, slow and shallow routes, which doesn't make sense, but it's what they do. They'll run 2 deep wide receivers, and then they'll do, kind of a curly Q route with the tight end, or backs will block for a second, then come out. And so it's very, very it's very weird. And if you just look at week 1, They threw 11 passes that traveled more than 10 yards. That's it. They only completed 3 of those, mind you. So they're not exactly, they're running routes that are deep, but it's almost like they have a decoy every single time, and they're just like, go clear out the safety. We're going to wait and dance around in the back, and then we're just going to throw a short pass anyway. If you're looking at 20-yard passes, they only threw 2. To put that into perspective, Jimmy Garoppolo threw 4 and he doesn't like to throw deep very often, but he twice as much as they did. They completed 1 of those. So players to watch out for on this side. Sam Darnold is ice cold or red hot. He's never had an average game. He either is awful or he's great. Pressure with 4 is the key with Sam Darnold as I look back through his stats last year. Versus the blitz, he's hit or miss. But if you are getting pressure with just 4 people, he struggles big time. You're talking about a passer rating in the 60s, 70s in most games against pressure with 4 guys. Because, again, he's not getting that quick, hot read where he can just dump the ball off versus a blitz. Instead, he has to diagnose a play, which he struggles with. I think eventually Sam Darnold will be a very good quarterback, but not with this coaching staff and definitely not with this supporting cast. It's funny. For a young developing quarterback, you either need to have amazing weapons to throw to or a good offensive line and running game. And so for the Jets, they said, you get neither. Just go and go. That's just what it is. Now, we do have to say, I can't believe it took me this long to bring up his name. He introduced the damn podcast, if you were one of the Countdown crew, Frank Gore. Probably one of the coolest moments of my life was in South Beach. We had the event with them. Getting to do shots with Frank Gore and hang out and talk with him was freaking awesome. What a cool dude. And he's still such a big Niners fan. It was so evident. It was during the Super Bowl, so he was a free agent, whatever else. But that dude from Miami, huge Niners fan. I'm sure this game's going to be huge. Now, he's played very, very well. His game has not gone down at all, and he's going to be starting. So that's going to be pretty damn fun to watch. Frank Gore versus the 49ers, there's no doubt he's going to have some plays. I'm sure he's going to be jazzed for real. Probably the last time he'll ever play against the 49ers. I shouldn't say that. He's probably got 4 years still left in him. The dude just doesn't age. I swear to God, he's Thanos. Anyway. Back to players to watch out for. Darnold, Frank Gore. You get to see 21. He's my oldest son's favorite player ever. So I'm pretty sure he's going to be pretty jazzed about that one. The left side of their offensive line is actually pretty good, especially in the run game. Alex Lewis is pretty good, and Mekhi Becton, okay, who they drafted really, really high, and he's just a mammoth of a man. So think Trent Brown. That's Mekhi Becton. And he's going to be going against Nick Bosa the whole time. That's going to be fun to watch. Becton was one of the top-rated rookies in Week 1, along with Javon Kinlaw. So you get to see some very talented rookies on the offensive line for them and defensive line for us. It's going to be a lot of fun there. I'm excited. But they're very good at run blocking. But, Alex Lewis, who, again, might be one of the better run blocking guards in the NFL. He's a bulldozer. But, so him against Javon Kinlaw is going to be so much fun. That's one of my matchups I want you to watch out for is Alex Lewis, the right guard, the Jets right guard versus Javon Kinlaw. That's just, when they hit, it's just like explosions are going to happen. It's going to be a lot of fun. So excited about that one. Chris Herndon, really, really good player. Tight end who's been suspended, injured, suspended. He's playing now. And I could literally see him getting 12 targets. The bad news for Chris Herndon, good news for 49ers. 49ers have some really good coverage linebackers. So watch that because there's not really any other targets that they can throw to. There's just not there. And, players to exploit or to attack, everybody. They don't have an above average starter at any position on offense. Not one. Even Alex Lewis, who I just talked about, he's very suspect in pass protection. So while his run blocking is elite, his pass protection, it's trash. So there's not really much out there. Worst wide receiver core maybe ever to start a game. This is bad. I would prefer Pettis over their starting wide receivers. And you guys know how I feel about Pettis. And I saw this, early on. I'll get to some questions in a little bit, but the question was asked, I heard or I saw Pettis was open in a lot of the clips from week 1. Well, we did our full Patreon breakdown, so if you want to go watch that and support the podcast, just go to patreon.com, 49ers Rush Podcast. I went through and talked about all those. And yes, there's several different plays where you could see Debo get separation, or Debo, sorry about that. That's how bad I want Debo back. Dante Pettis gets separation. Dante Pettis always gets separation. Dante Pettis is the separation king. But the problem is when the ball's in the air, NFL corners and safeties will close in on you, and that's where he can't catch the ball. Whenever there's contact or just somebody around him, he's not catching it. That's a problem. And on several of those plays, you'll see Jimmy Garoppolo look Pettis' way where there's no separation and then go through his progression. Then Pettis gets open. That's no good either. You only have 2.5 seconds to get rid of the ball. So if you're not getting it through quick, it doesn't matter. But yes, you're going to see separation with Pettis. That's what he does it better than anybody. But it's not flag football. And if anybody's around him or closes in on the ball, then that's what it is. Could you target Pettis more? Yes. Is he going to catch some passes? Yes. But the problem is, and this is why you don't throw him the ball that much, is negative plays when targeted. Tipped passes lead to interceptions. Dropped passes lead to interceptions. It just shuts everything down. I think that's kind of the problem. I'm done with Pettis. And, the 49ers brought in Mohamed Sanu. And if you want to know, where the rankings are and all that kind of stuff in the wide receiver room, Kyle Shanahan said today, we haven't decided yet if we're going to carry 5 wide receivers, but if we do, Mohamed Sanu would be the 5th wide receiver. So Mohamed Sanu might be inactive this week. He only practiced because of COVID testing and the time period and all that stuff. He got to practice today, Friday. It was his first day to practice. So you're practicing Friday, you're flying Saturday, you're playing Sunday. Do you put a guy out there on one practice? Now, Kyle Shanahan did say he was out there, he got the full workload today, he didn't make any mistakes, so that's a good thing. But Mohamed Sanu, pump the brakes, probably week 3. I don't think you'll see him out there. So I think the pecking order for this week, Brandon Ayuk, first game in the NFL, already at the top of the depth chart, baby. He's going to be starting. Love that. Then you've got Kendrick Bourne, right? Then you've got Trent Taylor. Then you've got Dante Pettis. My left shoe would be slightly ahead of that last one, but that's okay. Not trying to dog on the guy, but he's great. Dante Pettis, good dude. No problems. Just not as a football player. Just haven't seen it. And until we do see it, I don't think you can really fault anybody for declaring him a bust. He is 100% traded up in the second round to get him. Complete bust. But I think that's just honest. You can be honest. It doesn't mean I'm negative. The dude was a bust. He was a draft bust. That's okay. I hope the best. I hope he goes out and scores 3 touchdowns this week. But it ain't going to happen. I'm a betting man, and I'll tell you about those bets in a little bit, but I sure as hell ain't betting on that. All right. Now, let's step back for a second, and I want to talk about stories, the faithful, what that means. Faithful to the Bay, baby. I got it on the side of my hat somewhere. There it is. It's over here. Sorry, it's a mirrored look, so that's why I'm confused. Anyway. One of my social media guys that helps out with everything behind the scenes 49ers, Devin, awesome dude. Service guy, just freaking helps people. That's all he does. Love Devin. Shout out to Devin. Here's his story. So I've asked everybody, go review the show and leave your story about how you became part of the faithful. And if you don't have a cool story and you still want something shared, I want you to tell us your favorite memory or just obscure whatever about the 49ers. So head over to iTunes. That helps the podcast out the most. Leave a 5-star review and a story about how you became part of the faithful or just an awesome 49ers story you want to share. And we're going to do this every episode. Just because I think it emboldens kind of what we're about, and it helps the podcast out and our numbers a lot, so I appreciate that. And it's free. It doesn't cost anything. So this is from Devin. He grew up in a military family. His pops was from Wisconsin and spent 20 years in the Navy, moved around his entire life, never stayed anywhere for longer than 6 months. His dad's a Packers fan, but his mother, who is from Idaho, is a Seahawks fan. Ouch. That hurts. That hurts. However, when his dad finally got out of the military when he was 10 years old, they settled down in Idaho. Okay, Idaho has 3 fan bases: Denver, Seattle, and the 49ers. Now, this was back in the 90s. Steve Young, Jerry Rice, so there is absolutely no competition for me on who to root for, says Devin. I love it. However, after about a year, they moved to Wisconsin to be close to his dad's family, and that is where the rabid fandom came into play. I freaking love it. Go into enemy territory, and it's just time to go. During the 1995 championship, we went to my dad's family's house, and I was told, because I live in Wisconsin now, I have to root for the Packers. I love Devin. He's got the right kind of a-hole in his personality that I love it. Stay strong, brother. So he was told that he had to be a Packers fan. That was the end for me. It was all Niners all the time from that point on. I was there when we drafted Alex Smith, through the Balky years, through the Super Bowl, through all that stuff, and I'm here now, faithful for life. Love it. Thank you, Devin. That is freaking awesome. There is just something beautiful about being surrounded and people trying to press even beliefs, whatever, their team on you. Get your team off me. I don't have to root for your damn team just because I'm at your house or we're family or whatever. No. Faithful, baby. Faithful to the Bay. I absolutely love it. So go share your story. We need to increase this. We need more of these, man, because, gosh, you see me smiling like a big goofball over here with my rosy red cheeks. Absolutely love it. All right, let's move on. Let's talk some bets. Let's see where the money is, because here's the deal. Vegas is the most accurate out there, period. Anybody out there, the money always tells the truth. That's kind of the idea. The Vegas lines have increased. It's up to 7.5 points. The 49ers are favored despite flying cross-country, early morning kickoff, and that's one more thing to look at, because if Kyle Shanahan had it his way, they would have flown out there today. But because of the COVID restrictions, they're not allowed to fly out till tomorrow evening. So it's already starting to be weird. And then you have to play. It's a 10 a.m. kickoff. That's 7 a.m. here. And Kyle Shanahan said that's why we had meetings early, trying to get used to that kind of clock, all the kind of stuff that's going on there. So let's go over some of our bets of the week, brought to you by our sponsors. Here we go, baby. MyBookie. Winning seasons return at MyBookie. Winning season means doubling your first deposit. Winning season means Survivor, Super Contest, Squares, you name it, they have it at MyBookie. And here's the deal. Whenever you're hitting on all of your parlays with your feet up on the couch, enjoying watching the 49ers win, of course, you get to trounce your rivals, brag about it, and make money. And that's what MyBookie brings to us. And I love these guys. They've supported us for a long time. Really do appreciate all they do. So here's the deal. Invest in your intuition. Use promo code 49ers, 49ERS, and double your first deposit. New players get up to $1,000 in free play. Designed to add more excitement to the sports you love and the games you bet. Head over there. They've got live betting on championship futures. You want to put money down on if the 49ers are going to win the Super Bowl, if they're going to win the NFC West, how far they're going to go in the playoffs. All of those things and more are available at mybookie.ag. So it's simple. Make your picks, win big, collect your cash, and again, use promo code 49ers and double your first deposit. Your winning season begins today at mybookie.ag. All right, so if you bet with us on Thursday, we won that one. It came down to the wire, but that last Cincinnati Bengals trash touchdown put us over the top. So we are up. I think we're at $46 positive currently on the season, and that's after only week 1 and 1 bet. So anytime we talk bets, if I say a bet, I put my own personal money on there. I don't bet a lot. I bet $5 or $10 really on everything. That's it. It's more fun for me that way. You do what you want to do. So here's our bets this week. I've got 3 of them, and I've got some crazy ones, and I've got some fun ones, and some more that's probably going to happen. So the first bet, I'm betting against this one. And again, you head to MyBookie, click NFL, click the 49ers game, and then it's going to say on the bottom right part, right? It's going to say, more bets. It says a whole bunch of stuff. So you click that, it just opens like 50 bets off to the side. It says 50 props, more props, whatever. So it's different on the phone for some reason, but whatever. You go there, both teams to score over 19.5 points. I'm betting against that. I think this is going to be an ugly game and a slow game. The Jets want it to be a slow game, and they're an ugly team. So I think that's what it's going to be. I don't see the Jets getting over that. If you look at what they did last year, they averaged 17 points a game. So their average for the year is less than that. You look at what they did in week 1, guess what? They scored 17 points a game, and now they're going against the 49ers defense. I just don't see them having the opportunity to get more than that points. So if one team doesn't score past 19.5 points, then you get paid there. Now, you bet 10, you win 15, so it's not the best odds in doubling up, but that's because it's so likely to happen. So if you're a conservative bettor, I recommend that one. Here's another one I put on. It's a double down bet. Jimmy G to have 250 plus yards passing and the 49ers win. It's plus 100. You bet 5, you win 10. So I'm doing that one. Excited about that one. If you want a crazy bet, okay, this is crazy. You just put $1 down on this one. Brandon Ayuk, baby, to have 100 yards receiving, which I don't think you will, and the 49ers win. It's plus 1,600. So you bet 5, you win $85. So again, I don't think that one's going to hit, but if it does hit, that would be pretty freaking awesome. That's why I'm only putting $5 on this, but this is my favorite bet of the week, and it's a teaser. So you have to have both these things happen. And I bought 6.5 points for both of these games. I picked the 49ers, right, who are 7.5 point favorites. So that 6.5 points takes all that down. So the 49ers have to win by 1 point. And I picked the Patriots as well, who they were 4 points. They're underdogs. So you get those 4 points plus 6.5. So the Patriots just can't lose by more than 10.5 points versus Seahawks. So now I get a root for the 49ers, and I get a root against the Seahawks. And I love it. Bet 10 to win 17. I'm pretty excited about that one. I think it's going to be fun. I like to bet with my feelings, but only if the numbers align with that. And I think both those do. That's why I'm doing the teaser bet there. All right, here we go. We got our keys to win, but before we do that, I do want to answer some questions. So let's jump through. I've seen a lot of comments on here. Appreciate everybody. Man, the Countdown crew showing up, man. I freaking love it. Sergio, he says, John, I can't believe Kittle is out again by the same damn team. You are exactly correct. Got hurt versus the Cards last time. Good news is, do not expect Kittle to miss nearly as much time as he did last time. The fact that he played past this injury, he's just too damn tough, man. It's just what it is. But yeah, Kittle is out. But again, we lost him 2 games last time, and we still made it to the Super Bowl. So we'll have to see what happens. We got the duct tape and Roz Dwelly himself. Pretty excited to see about that. I do like Mr. Superfly's comment. The football gods always demand a sacrifice. That is correct. That's what it is. So Spoon was cleared. Yep. Yeah. Witherspoon is going to be playing. He's going to be starting in such a weird time. Imagine being excited that Akello Witherspoon is your starting corner. It puts everything into perspective. How many injuries we've had at that position. It's a lot. You go all the way back to training camp and DJ Reed, who's now with the enemy, right? But you take it, you kind of move forward. It's what it is. Jordan, how dare you? Dante Johnson is John Chapman's favorite player. How dare you? Here we go. From Nick, why are we signing outside corners when we could elevate one off of the practice squad that went through our training camp and knows our defense? Well, we could have done that, except the guy that we've been grooving for 10 years or for 2 years, Tim Settle, he got injured. He hurt his hamstring. So he's on IR. The guy we would have elevated, and I think we would have, he got hurt the exact same dang time. And so DJ Reed, Tim Settle, Richard Sherman, Akello Witherspoon, Jason Verrett, like we had backup plans for all these things, but everybody got hurt. All of them got hurt. Yeah, start Kittle. I agree with you. Trent Payne, Solomon Thomas got to start in week 1. He was the worst defender on the field. That should end. You look at the play counts, snap counts, they split. It was either Solomon Thomas or Kinlaw were in. I think that you need to start to see an uptick in snaps, especially this week for Kinlaw, because again, as I said, the Jets are not a hurry up, speed up team. And so Kinlaw's issue is conditioning. And whenever he gets tired, at least going back to his college film, that's where his play suffered. So I think he starts. He should start. I want DJ Jones and I want Kittle in there as my two interior guys. And I want them to get closer to 60% of the snaps. So you tick down just a couple for Solomon Thomas, I think we're going to be okay. I can't say this name. It's an awesome name. Schatje. I think it's Shaktj. I don't know. I don't speak Spanish. Receivers will return. Jimmy will improve, and stats will climb. Suddenly, people will have amnesia. Nothing cures all ills more than winning. You just win. Just win, baby. And then people chill out. That's just what it is. And I think the 49ers fan base, we got spoiled because we won so damn much. I mean, we're spoiled fans anyway. I mean, freaking Joe Montana, Steve Young, go back in the day to Kittle. Jeff Garcia is a hell of a quarterback. If Jeff Garcia would be the best quarterback for like 6 different franchises, right? We don't even mention him around here. Talk about Kaepernick. We got to the Super Bowl with him. We got Jimmy Garoppolo, got to the Super Bowl again. We've had so many good quarterbacks that it does make it hard. And when the last 2 losses hurt as much as they did going back to the Super Bowl, we've had all that damn time. Just, so close, so close, so close, so close. And then week 1 happens, and it compounded. Get a victory, take a deep breath, and just chill out. How much will Sanu play? I doubt any more than 15 plays unless somebody gets injured. I don't even think he's going to be active. I personally don't think, especially with all the injuries everywhere else. We went into the game last week with 4, and Richie James is out now, but Brandon Ayuk's in. I think you're fine going forward this week as well. And you can bring up some other guys, bring up Chase Harrell at tight end. I don't know. I'm curious to see what they're going to do. The 49ers roster is so deep that it kind of gets to the point where it's just like, golly, who is going to be inactive? Who do you call up? Because if you're making some great players inactive, that's just what it is. So, take that for what you want. Let's see here. From Barack O'Niner, no more play breakdowns. Yeah, so usually I put the plays up on the offense and defensive breakdowns, and I would have done that this week, but the NFL didn't release the film till late Thursday. So because I do those episodes Tuesday and Wednesday, it just came out after the fact. So hopefully next week, I'll be able to run the footage during the Tuesday and Wednesday offensive defensive breakdowns, but it just came out too late this time. Now, if you want the full-on breakdowns, there's 2 places you can get it. The free version, I put a handful of clips up on Twitter, and you can see that, but the best way is definitely Patreon, and I've got hundreds and hundreds of hours of breakdowns on there already. We started last year. That's the best place. Head over to patreon.com. 49ers Rush Podcast is $8 a month. Join the Frank Gore tier, and you get everything. Every single play, offense, defense from everything, several hours a week. So like I did the first half of the defense this morning, and it was 50 minutes just going through the first half. So I got to do the second half. I'll be doing that tomorrow. And again, probably going to be another 45 minutes. So just on this week's game film alone, there's 2+ hours on there, probably 2.5 hours when it's all said and done. So yeah, if you want that, head over there. Appreciate that. Let's see, AJ. Looking at last week's film, Pettis got open a few times, a couple of times wide open. Do you think he gets another chance? I think he has to get some plays in there, but his snap count will be down. And no, I don't think that he gets very many targets. I really, really don't. From Roscoe. So do you think our main receiver was a free agent last week? I don't understand. I don't understand. I don't think any of those things. I don't think Robinson is our main receiver. I think that he will be our 4th wide receiver, and when everybody is healthy, he will be our 5th wide receiver. But yeah, hopefully that helps you. Here we go. Do you think Ford will turn up the motor this week after playing lazily last week? He looked injured. But again, watch him in the first quarter. Watch him in the third quarter. That's 2 different human beings. So if you've got to put him on a 20 snap count, you get 20 snaps and that's it, and you go out there for 2 plays, on third downs only, you do what you got to do. But yeah, I don't think Ford. I wouldn't be surprised if he doesn't play this week, to be honest with you, and that's okay. I mean, we do need Ford, but if he's not healthy, get that guy off the field, because what we saw on third quarter, that didn't work. So it's you take that for what you will. D Ford, if he's not healthy, don't get that guy out there, because the only thing that makes D Ford so effective is his first step, the explosiveness, the speed off the edge. He's one of the best in the NFL whenever he does it right. But you take that first step away, now he's a liability in every category of the game. So he's a high energy speed guy, and if he doesn't have that, you got to go. You got to go. It's just what it is. All right, let's go to keys to win and my predictions before we say goodbye. Remember, on Sunday, immediately after the game, when Kyle Shanahan's press conference is finished, which they didn't air it last week, I don't know why, we'll go live right after that. So make sure you hit that notification bell, join our countdown crew for some free prizes, things like that. So here's my one stat. If this one thing happens, the 49ers win, period. 30-plus rush attempts for the 49ers. That's it. 30-plus rush attempts for the 49ers. I don't care if you average 2 yards per carry. Run the damn ball and slow this game down, okay? Let it play into your hands. Let it play into your hands. And allow it to be the type of game that is going to be kind of ugly. Go back to the Washington game last year. I know that was in the rain, so it's a little bit different. Allow it to just chill. You're going to be able to move the ball through the air, and they're going to do that. But just handle the ground. Run it. Slow the game down. You want this to be a low-scoring affair. If you do, because, again, you don't want to allow this offense, the Jets, to get any type of, second chances. No, just slow and chill. Slow and chill. Your defense is going to dominate. Run the ball. You're going to get where you want to go. Now, I see this question on there. Why are they not bringing up Javon Jennings from the practice squad? Javon Jennings only plays slot. He doesn't play X or Y. You have Trent Taylor there. And again, Brandon Ayuk has learned some of the slot, and Kendrick Bourne has learned the slot. So they need outside wide receivers, which Sanu plays, not inside slot guys. So Javon Jennings is kind of a long-term play if Trent Taylor doesn't come back or whatever else. But, so that's why Javon Jennings is sitting there. And then, two, let's say you bring up Javon Jennings, and he actually has a good game. You're not going to put him back on the practice squad. Somebody is steal him. So it does seem like he's going to be a developmental player, and that's where he's going to be eventually. Now, predictions. Here we go. Brandon Ayuk is going to have an impact in this game big time. 6 touches, which doesn't sound like a lot, but whenever you realize very first game ever as a pro, rookie wide receiver against a run-heavy offense, 6 touches for 60-plus yards, I think that's huge. To get touches, because I don't think he's going to have 6 receptions. He's going to run 2 or 3 jet sweeps and whatever else. But I think that's one of the magic numbers. Get Brandon Ayuk the ball. And, man, the opportunity that we're going to have with both of our first-round draft picks, we're going to see how good they both are. Javon Kinlaw lived up to the hype in week 1. Yeah, the stat sheet wasn't lit up, but you watch the film, it's evident this kid has it. A lot of nuance to his game whenever we heard all the camp reports saying he could just bull rush. You watch week 1, that 100% is not what happened. Jimmy needs to calm down, and I think he does. Doesn't need a lot of attempts, but I think he gets back to that 70% completion percentage number that he was at all of last year. So that's going to be huge. Javon Kinlaw gets his first sack, baby. This is built for him. He's going against a right guard that gives up a lot of pressures, and it's going to be a lot of fun to watch. And I think Ahkello Witherspoon could be kind of the MVP of the defense. I think he's going to have a great game. This is built perfectly for him. You're talking about a guy that has been up and down, been picked on, injuries, confidence issues, and all that. Well, guess what? You get to go out and guard some of the worst wide receivers in the NFL this week. I'm excited for Ahkello. I'm not sure how he's going to do it. I'm not saying interception or whatever, but I'm telling you, Ahkello Witherspoon is going to have a game. And I think it's going to be a good game. And here's my final score prediction, baby. I've got the 49ers winning 24-13. It's not going to be the prettiest game ever because two teams are beat up pretty bad, and the Jets do have a formidable defense. But I think 24-13. Frank Gore is going to get some movement. I think they're going to settle for some field goals, but this game's just too much for the Jets. 49ers climb back to 1-1. And it's kind of the first step. So yeah, take receipts, Trent. Come after me, baby. I love it. And charge me up. If I'm wrong, that's okay. I'm not one of those people that, blocks people because I'm wrong or whatever. I just block people because they're terrible humans, and you attack people in my comments. I'm not cool for that. You attack me all you want. The fact that Barack O'Niner's still a part of this and I haven't blocked him yet is because he attacks me. I don't mind. Come after me all you want. Don't care. So I love it, Trent. Keep your receipts. Come after me. Tell me when I'm wrong. I love that. I love that. So anyway, that's going to do it for us today. Can't wait. Again, Sunday, right after Kyle Shanahan's press conference, we are going live. Win, lose, or draw. We're going to go through the game. We'll deal with our reactions and all those things. Thank you so much for your support. And as always, stay strong, faithful.